The guards had never seen anything like it. A death row inmate's last request to see his dog. But what happened next changed everything. Marcus stared at the small window of his cell, watching his sunlight slowly crawl across the concrete wall. 24 hours. That's all he had left. Tomorrow at dawn they would lead him to the execution chamber, and his life would end at the age of 34. "Thompson, you have a visitor," the guard announced, unlocking the cell door. Father Michael, the prison chaplain, entered with his usual calm demeanor. Marcus had refused spiritual counsel several times before, but today was different. Today he had a purpose. "Have you given any thought to your final request, Father?" Michael asked gently. Marcus looked up, eyes clear and determined for the first time in months. "Yes, I want to see Rex." The chaplain's brow furrowed. "Rex, is that a relative?" "My dog," Marcus said quietly. "He's all I have. He's living with my neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, on Oak Avenue. I need to say goodbye, Father." Michael hesitated. "Marcus, I don't know if that's possible. The prison has strict protocols." "Please, Marcus," interrupted his voice breaking. "I've accepted my fate. I'm not fighting anymore. But Rex, he was the only good thing in my life. The only living being who never judged me, never gave up on me." As Father Michael looked into Marcus's eyes, he saw something he hadn't seen before. Not desperation or manipulation, but simple, honest grief. "I'll speak with the warden," the chaplain promised the next morning. Marcus sat on his bed, counting the minutes. He'd given up hope that his request would be granted. Death row inmates rarely got special treatment, regardless of their final wishes. The sound of approaching footsteps caught his attention. Warden Rodriguez himself appeared at the cell door, flanked by 2 guards. "Thompson," the warden said formally, "your request to see your dog has been reviewed. Given the unusual nature of the situation, I've decided to allow a brief visit, 10 minutes under strict supervision." Marcus couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "Don't make me regret this," the warden replied, nodding to the guards. 20 minutes later, Marcus waited in a small, secure meeting room, typically used for attorney visits. The door opened, and Mrs. Henderson appeared, looking nervous, and then a blur of dark fur burst into the room. Rex. Marcus fell to his knees as the German Shepherd lunged toward him, whining and wiggling with uncontainable joy. The dog licked Marcus's face frantically, his entire body shaking with excitement. Marcus buried his face in Rex's fur, inhaling the familiar scent that reminded him of better days, mornings in the park, evenings by the fireplace in his small apartment. The unconditional companionship that had saved him from loneliness countless times. "I've missed you so much, buddy," Marcus murmured, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry I had to leave you." The guards stood awkwardly by the walls, trying to maintain their professional detachment, but the raw emotion in the room was palpable. Even Mrs. Henderson dabbed at her eyes with a tissue suddenly. Rex's demeanor changed. The dog's stiffened nose working frantically, sniffing at Marcus's prison jumpsuit. He began pawing at Marcus's chest pocket, whining urgently. "What is it, boy?" Marcus asked, confused by the sudden change. Rex barked sharply, continuing to nudge at Marcus's pocket with increasing desperation. One of the guards, Officer Martinez, stepped forward. "What's he doing?" "I don't know," Marcus said, equally puzzled. "There's nothing in my butt." Rex wouldn't stop. The dog became more agitated, barking loudly and circling Marcus, then returning to paw at the same spot. Officer Martinez, who had worked with canine units before joining the prison staff, moved closer. "He's alerting to something. Dogs don't act like this without reason. Step back." Thompson ordered the second guard. Officer Jenkins, suddenly alert, "Stand up slowly." Marcus complied, confused and alarmed by the sudden tension in the room. Rex continued barking, fixated on Marcus's jumpsuit. "I'm going to search you," Officer Martinez said, approaching cautiously. "Stay still." The guard patted down Marcus's uniform methodically until he reached the upper left pocket. His fingers detected something unusual, a small bulge in the lining that shouldn't have been there. Using a pocket knife, Officer Martinez carefully cut through the stitching and extracted a small plastic bag containing white powder. "What the hell is this?" the officer demanded, holding up the bag. Marcus stared at it in genuine shock. "I have no idea. That's not mine. I've never seen that before." "Sure, that's what they all say," Officer Jenkins scoffed. "No, you don't understand." Marcus insisted, his voice rising with panic. "I didn't put that there. Why would I smuggle drugs the day before my execution? It doesn't make sense." Rex continued barking as if trying to confirm Marcus's story. Officer Martinez studied Marcus's face carefully. After 15 years in law enforcement, he developed a knack for detecting lies. What he saw was authentic confusion and fear. Jenkins called the warden. Officer Martinez said, "And someone get this substance tested immediately." Within the hour, the prison was in turmoil. The white powder tested positive for heroin, high grade, and extremely pure. Security footage of the laundry room was reviewed, revealing something disturbing. Officer Patterson, a guard who had been working at the facility for just 6 months, had handled Marcus's jumpsuit the previous day, clearly slipping something into the pocket. Officer Patterson was immediately detained for questioning. Under pressure, he broke down, confessed he had been paid to plant the drugs by someone connected to the murder. Marcus had been convicted of the same murder he had always maintained. He didn't commit. The next 72 hours passed in a whirlwind. Marcus's execution was stayed pending. Investigation. The planted drugs opened a Pandora's box of questions about his original case. Detective Anna Mitchell, who had harbored doubts about Marcus's conviction from the beginning, was assigned to review the evidence. What she found was shocking. Key witness testimony had been coerced. Forensic evidence had been mishandled, and alibi witnesses had never been interviewed. Most damning of all, she discovered that the real killer, a notorious drug dealer named Vincent Romano, had bribed Officer Patterson to plant the drugs, hoping to ensure that Marcus's execution would proceed permanently, silencing any chance of the truth coming out. "I can't believe this is happening," Marcus said 1 week later, sitting across from his new attorney in the prison's meeting room. His execution had been postponed indefinitely. "The DA's office is reopening your case," the lawyer explained. Detective Mitchell has built a compelling case against Romano. 3 witnesses have already come forward with new testimony, placing him at the scene of the crime. Marcus stared at the table, trying to process what he was hearing. "And all because of Rex. Your dog quite literally saved your life." The attorney agreed. The press is calling it a miracle. 4 months later, Marcus stood outside the prison gates, breathing free air for the first time in 3 years. The judge had vacated his conviction entirely after Vincent Romano confessed to the murder as part of a plea deal for his numerous other crimes. Mrs. Henderson waited nearby, holding Rex's leash the moment Marcus appeared. She released her grip. Rex bounded forward, nearly knocking Marcus over in his enthusiasm. "Hey, buddy." Marcus laughed, kneeling to receive the dog's exuberant greeting. "We did it. We're going home, Detective." Mitchell approached, smiling at the reunion. "I wanted to be here to see this. It's not often we get to witness justice actually working." "I still can't believe it," Marcus said, standing up while keeping one hand on Rex's head. "If it weren't for Rex, dogs have instincts we don't fully understand," Mitchell replied. "But I have a theory about what happened that day. The person who planted those drugs, Officer Patterson, must have handled narcotics before coming to work. Rex detected those residual traces on your uniform where Patterson had touched it." Marcus looked down at his faithful companion with wonder. "So he wasn't just excited to see me. He was trying to tell everyone something was wrong." "Exactly. And now, thanks to him, we've uncovered a corruption scandal that goes beyond just your case. 3 other convictions are being reviewed because of Patterson's involvement." Marcus scratched behind Rex's ears. "Hear that, buddy? You're a hero." As they walked toward Detective Mitchell's car, reporters called out questions. Marcus had become something of a celebrity. The man saved from execution by his dog's devotion. Several news channels had requested interviews, and a prominent publishing house had already reached out about a potential book deal. "What are you going to do now?" Mitchell asked as they drove away from the prison. Marcus looked out the window, then down at Rex, who sat contentedly beside him, head resting on his lap. "First, I'm taking Rex for the longest walk of his life. After that, I'm thinking about working with the Innocence Project. There are others like me still behind bars." As the car headed toward the city, Marcus felt something he hadn't experienced in years. Hope. His hand rested on Rex's warm fur, a constant reminder that sometimes, when all seems lost, salvation comes from the most unexpected places, like the loyal heart of a dog who never stopped believing in him. The story of Marcus and Rex became more than just a remarkable tale of a death row inmate saved by his dog. It became a symbol of hope, a reminder that sometimes second chances appear when we least expect them, and that the purest form of love, one without judgment or condition, can light the way forward even in our darkest hours.